and see what happens. Welcome to the CrossFit Canada podcast, a place for Canadian affiliate owners and coaches and those who do CrossFit, but we're not limited to just Canadians. And super excited for today's episode because we have a non-Canadian, but I would say the better half of the powers that be of the CrossFit Medical Society, and that is Jenn Pishko. So Jenn, what we do is you're going to introduce yourself, and one of the things you guys are is affiliate owner. So Yep. Tell us about your affiliate.
Yeah.
And then question of the day, we were just talking before we got online, is your kind of similar climate to where I am. So let's go with favorite vacation spot because we have cold weather coming.
Yeah. So I always, get the opportunity to talk to a lot of people and affiliates and do different things. And I think the first thing that I always say is that I am an affiliate owner, because that's what I did first, looking at kind of this whole ecosystem that I've been in for 11 years as an owner. And then even longer than that, just as a CrossFitter. So Chagrin Falls CrossFit opened, or we got our LOR in December of 2014. And then we opened, and did our first classes at the beginning of 2015. So January 2015 was when we welcomed community members in for their first workouts. We've been through 2 locations. So we spent 6 years in a 10,000 square foot building and toughed it out through COVID and had a terrible landlord, and then decided to move 2 warehouses over in the middle of winter, 2020 into 2021. And we've been in that space for 5 years. And then we just actually re-signed our lease to stay another 5 years. So we are in it for the long haul. And it's been awesome that entire time. Yeah. And favorite vacation spot. So I'm definitely, because I'm in Cleveland and it's usually gray and crappy for what I feel is the majority of the year, I tend to lean towards going to warm climates if I'm leaving here. So somewhere beachy, quiet would be ideal for me. I travel down the East Coast a fair amount. I do I was just in Sedona, actually, which is in Arizona, so over towards the west part of the country. Not a beach there per se, but it was very warm and very beautiful, and that was an amazing trip. So
I would say anyone who's from an area like ours, or even just the northeastern seaboard, Arizona is just this anomaly of a state. You go into Phoenix and Mesa and it's just the desert, but then you start going up the hill and realize you could go from desert to snow in a few hours.
And that's so funny. My friend lives in Phoenix, and that's where I spent the first day and a half, because I met her and then we were driving up to Sedona with a few other girls, and I thought I was on the face of the sun for 24 hours and I didn't know what was happening to my body. I was 110 degrees. And then, you drive 90 minutes up into the mountains, and then all of a sudden it's just this beautiful, much more acceptable, cooler climate. Still hot, but yeah, it was great.
Very cool. So as you mentioned, an affiliate owner, Chagrin Falls CrossFit, but then we're just going to be very brief overview, for those who don't know your involvement with the CrossFit Medical Society. Maybe we'll just talk about what it is, what you do, and then we'll backtrack to that a little bit later though.
Yeah. So to lead up into what the Medical Society is, we have the affiliate. About 4 or so years ago, Tom and I started a private practice. So outside the traditional medical system, which is, I know, very different than what is going on in Canada. And we'll probably talk about that maybe a little bit at some point.
Sure.
But, outside the insurance system, very conceptually focused on preventative health, understanding root cause in alignment with the CrossFit methodology. And it started very small, just to kind of serve the needs of our community from within the CrossFit space. And then, kind of grew to just in general be, a healthcare option for Chagrin Falls, for, pieces and parts of Cleveland, telehealth and all of that stuff. And there was really this kind of synergistic integration between how the affiliate could be honestly a health hub, right? And a lot of things can kind of go in through the affiliate and then be delivered to community members, right? Because we all know this, and I know you know this very well, right? we have the opportunity as coaches and owners to have touch points with members probably more regularly than anybody else, honestly,
Yeah.
like definitely more so than the healthcare system. And so when you're looking at ways to really impact the trajectory of somebody's health, it can all happen through the affiliate. And so that we were given an amazing opportunity to kind of work with CrossFit and put framework around how we could kind of push this mission forward and, work with other affiliate owners, work with other folks within HQ, other providers all over the place, and just really try to put, the health stamp on what the affiliate owner and the coaches can do, like in their boxes.
And so how did that, you mentioned like kind of the genesis of it, but then like what was kind of the first initial steps? Because, I think of the CrossFit Games, I think 3 years ago, I got to see Tom was part of the panel of We Cure Chronic Disease. And at that point, it was like, hey, we're thinking of starting this medical society. So what were the sort of steps that started going towards it to what it is now?
Yeah, it was probably 3 years ago at least, right? Because I know we were still in Wisconsin. So it was, obviously a few games back. I think, CrossFit Health was a great way for providers to connect with each other back in the days when Greg was doing DDCs out in California, and Tom was kind of part of that, right? He was one of the first groups to get their MDL1 and his MDL2. And, is still, close with a lot of providers that were part of that cohort in general. I don't know if you recall or remember, had the opportunity to meet Mike, that worked for CrossFit for a while.
Mike Giardini.
Yep, exactly. And so, and he was kind of a big part of CrossFit Health as well. And I think it was just like, okay, can we work together to put framework around what it would look like if we just really pushed push this momentum forward. And that's where the conversation kind of started right around that time, honestly, at the games. And I want to say that was probably 2023. And, it took a while to get all of the pieces and parts together and kind of say, okay, well, what can we do with this? Well, we definitely want to have a space for providers to put themselves on a directory and be able to tell the whole world that, yes, I'm a healthcare provider, but I also believe in the CrossFit methodology and I want to support, the way that either that works in practice or in the affiliate. And then from there, it just kind of continued to snowball and spiral. Well, what else can we do? What other tools and resources can we try to build so that affiliate owners can, have greater understanding, great education, be able to still have this small business grassroots mindset, which I think we all have, right? Because we are independent small business owners. But when you look at the climate of healthcare and honestly fitness at this point, right, it's big companies, it's, there's this big convergence of fitness and health together on a very high level in terms of the amount of money that kind of goes into building those things. And it's like, but our affiliates do the most important work. So how can we equip them with things that will allow them to put their stake in the ground and be like, big boxes and the way that they're kind of working with, other types of healthcare companies to do this work, right? We want our affiliates to really shine.
Yeah. And so I want to put a pin in that for a moment, but then let's backtrack all the way to the beginning, because someone might hear all this and they're like, yeah, we got it. But then it's like putting that into practice can be very overwhelming. And then all of a sudden they go to head out the door. It's like, whoa, what am I doing? But what the picture I want to paint is like where you and where Tom started as CrossFitters, then affiliate owners, and like realizing there's probably a lot more synergy and similarities between anyone who could be listening to this and to you guys. So when did you first, what was your first CrossFit workout and when was that, if you recall?
So I didn't know that this is what it was at the time, but my first CrossFit workout was Fight Gone Bad.
Okay.
And so it was in an affiliate in Michigan, which is also like a Midwestern kind of state. So, not too far from where I'm now. And I was in fitness and I was in coaching, but I was so sick of like feeling like I was going into Lifetime, which is where I was working out at the time, and being like, this is dumb. I'm by myself. I'm giving other people workouts all day long. I want somebody to kick my butt. And I was like, I had friends that did CrossFit. This is like 2011, I think. Regionals was a thing. So I think it was like right after seeing like regionals on Facebook. And I was like, those people are awesome. Like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I just like showed up to noon class one day. It was hot. I think it was May, and we did most of it outside. And
sorry to cut you off. Where in Michigan was this?
So this was in Macomb Township. Yeah. So outside of Rochester.
Okay.
Northeast Detroit. Yeah.
Okay.
It was CrossFit 586. I don't think they're still around, but I do remember that was my first CrossFit workout. Yeah.
So you walked into a noon class. You didn't know it was Fight Gone Bad, but you did it. And then what were your initial reactions after the class?
Yeah. I didn't know what happened to myself or to my body. I was like, I want to eat cheese. Like, and I didn't eat dairy at the time, but I like got in my car and I was like, I need to go home and eat cheese cubes. I like didn't know what else to do to like try to recover. But I remember thinking that, and that was really strange. And I think I went back 2 days later and I was like, all right, I'm ready. And it was awesome. Yeah.
And then you just kicked into it. And how and where does Tom fit into this? Yeah. Like where does your guys' paths converge?
Yeah, I moved back to Cleveland. I grew up here. And Tom's also from Ohio. And so we both lived in different places for a while. And then I moved back to Cleveland, honestly, in 2014. And I had run an affiliate up in Michigan at that point. And I coached and kind of helped a new one get started and did a lot of the ops and everything. And I loved it. And when I moved back, I didn't have an affiliate to go to, or one that was close enough to me that it felt like home. And I was like, well, I'm from this area. There's no affiliate here. Sounds like a good idea. And so I just opened up one, thinking that, what could be so hard about running an affiliate?
Yeah. You're basically doing it, right?
Yeah. I was like, it's fine. And so it's cool because, it did fill the niche in my small community. It's a very small community. And like I said, we've been around for 11 years at this point. Tom moved into the area at the end of 2021, middle of 2021, and joined the affiliate like as soon as he moved into the area. And so we were doing a lot of work already with nutritional support for athletes. I had always believed that CrossFit could be the thing that saves people's lives. That was a conviction that I held very close to my heart. And so just given his work as a physician and in CrossFit Health, it was just kind of a natural synergy to figure out what else we could offer to our community. And so from there, it just, like I said, it's been one foot in front of the other since then.
What was the kind of days like from 2014 to 2021, the sort of highs and lows of the growth there?
With the affiliate, you mean?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, with the affiliate.
Yeah. I mean, part of it was just learning how to become a business owner, honestly, because you become that as well, right? And so it's CrossFit and you love it and you love coaching, and that's fantastic. But then there's also this whole okay, I got to build SOPs. I got to figure out payroll. I have to hire people. I have to let people go. I have to make sure I'm doing customer service. I have to keep continuing education for myself. So I would honestly say for the first couple of years, it was just really understanding the importance of business as it went along with CrossFit. So, those first couple of years were spent wrapping my head around that, just as an entrepreneur, and the confidence or the humility that comes with the mistakes that you make kind of as a new business owner. And CrossFit at the time was, and I still think it is, so full disclosure, but, it was kicking ass, right? 2014, 2015, it was top of mind for a lot of people. So we had people jumping in the door, you know what I mean? Which was awesome. So we had the opportunity to grow kind of as I think it was continuing to kind of peak out just in general. 2020 was very challenging. We had to close for not quite 3 months, but we were closed for a bit. Members were very dedicated to making sure they could support us in any way possible. I gave equipment out. I did at-home workouts every day on YouTube, pivoting to make sure that we could, support our healthcare workers that wanted to have fitness as a relief mechanism for their stress. That was a very big period of growth as well. And then kind of coming out of that into this, do we know the full ramifications of how we were all impacted by this COVID experience as humans, as business owners, as people that are focused on health? Like, I think we're still trying to understand what that trajectory was like, but I will definitely say that belief in the importance of health and the ability to have preventative health and accessibility to that, I think is something that, whether or not that was leveled up by everybody's experience for, that year and a half of just really hard times, probably invigorated the vision of what I believe to be the possibility with what CrossFit can do for people.
And then, because I'm glad you touched upon like the business side of things, because I'm guessing now, even 11 years in, is like you're probably spending less and less time in the affiliate just as your schedule design. So how did you slowly start to break away but still make sure that the baby was okay?
Yeah, that's, I think, really challenging. Honestly, it's something that I personally have struggled with very much so over the last few years because, I was the only one for a really long time. And even if there was part-time coaches, there was definitely nobody really lifting the load in the affiliate. And so it becomes very synonymous with who the identity of the affiliate can relate to. And so if that person or that feeling isn't there anymore, it can be a little unsettling. I will tell you that we have amazing coaches. And in 2016, so a long time ago, the GM now started coaching as soon as he got out of the Marines, and coached for us for a little bit, went back, got his degree in exercise phys, came back, has kind of really become that person. And he's there all the time and he's fantastic along with the other coaches. And so that's just a kudos to how much they love CrossFit in the community, because they are definitely showing up when I can't be there all the time.
Mm-hmm. And so like, as we like start to dovetail this back into like something like the CrossFit Medical Society, it's like you are still, as you started right from the beginning, it's like, I'm an affiliate owner. I tell everyone I'm an affiliate owner first. And you were an affiliate owner first, but you couldn't start to take on a new project until you knew that things were starting to be let go of yourself. But I think partly too, like the willingness to let go and to move on to this new thing was because you had something new to move on to. And I wonder how many affiliate owners, speaking as to affiliate owners, get to that like 6 or 7 year itch and they think that something else has to be something entirely different, but you can hold on to the thing and realize that the thing is beautifully self-operating and it's okay to let go and take on a new passion project.
Yeah, I mean, that timeline is, I would definitely agree with that. The 6 to 7 year itch, right? And maybe it's just the evolution that happens when you're in one space for a long time, or maybe it's the result of burnout or other circumstances or other types of stressors. But there's probably a point that you can introspectively look and be like, okay, what's next? But I think in alignment with CrossFit holistically, right, in the methodology, and it's kind of this understanding that we have the ability to have progressive adaptation on a consistent basis. And so I think, maybe along with resources or ways that the Medical Society can support that, I think if we can understand, that we're allowed to think innovatively about the work that we do and allow that to progress and adapt and still be, stem from or come from the origins of which it started, then we can continue to to build and create iterations of that, right, as we go year after year after year, right? And so just like we know that fitness is work capacity across broad time and mold domains, health is that over time, right? And so when we're thinking about what we're doing, CrossFit is great and workouts on a daily basis are great for our members, but what can we do to support these members' health over time? And to me, that feels like something that we can continue to evolve for affiliate owners and coaches to constantly be given opportunities for education, have access to innovate themselves in a way that allows them to grow, serve their members in a different way, and keep having fulfillment from the work that they're doing, because nobody else is doing the work that affiliate owners and coaches are doing. It's so important. And there's nothing else out there that can even come close to the impact that we all have in our communities.
Yeah. Well, I guess really, I mean, to dumb down all the smart things you said there, and but like the affiliates really, and I know everyone talks about community, but I don't know if I think about it a lot. Like for me, like I focus on our culture, and separate from the culture is like, let's just think about connection. Like, because what we offer in an affiliate, as far as being a hub of connection, is more powerful than just community barbecues and bowling and beach days. And it's not to say that those aren't important, but I think if what I'm picking up what you're laying down is like that hub of connection becomes a hub of opportunity to deliver something that's needed now more than ever.
Yes, 100%. And if you lay that in parallel to a lot of the things that are not being delivered to humans because of lack of connection, and we see how that impacts their trajectory of health, right? Increased loneliness, social isolation, lack of access to care in a number of different ways, probably depending on where you live, right? Lack of education around how to make decisions and be informed in your care process, like all the things that come into the discussion when we want everybody to be able to be autonomous and in control of their health for as long as possible. Those are all things that the affiliate, because of the connection and the culture and the methodology, can help deliver on.
Mm-hmm. So then, spiraling this back to the topic, I think of like someone who may be really inspired or really interested to get into a version of like health offerings, we call it.
Yep.
But maybe, and it is of course it is a line that must be tread and towed, is that like, this is outside of my scope.
Sure.
Or how do I engage with practitioners? Or how do I do this? But realizing like, first it must be thinking about what do we provide as value to our community, business community, but as well as the community out in front of us. And you just said it is the fact that we have this group of engaged humans that we care about, but that care about each other. So there's this cross-pollination there.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So how is that a launch pad, or how can affiliate owners and coaches use that as a launch pad to springboard into conversations with healthcare?
Yeah, I mean, we have had the opportunity to, talk with affiliate owners and coaches a lot, obviously over the last year and a half. And I think there's some self-reflection that has to kind of go into what you want to do, honestly, because there's no wrong answer. And as the affiliate model is so unique, it's beautiful because it is an individual expression of the community, the owner, the culture. And that doesn't mean that what happens in one has to happen in another in any of the same capacity, right? And you're going to see that not only from community to community, like in a small sense, but, you're in Canada, I'm in the US, your system is different than my system. Like there's, when we're talking about scope, there's just legalities and parameters and things that kind of exist, right? But when you strip that all down, right, and you look at the benefits of human connection, when you look at the benefits of sustained habit change over time and how it relates to, improved health outcomes, right, whether it be smoking or, diet changes or exercise or all of these different things, like we can show that we can support that, right? So it's like, okay, what am I capable of as an affiliate owner? What do I want, or how do I want to serve my community? And maybe I'm passionate about one area or another, or one, group of demographics or population that struggle with health access or support in one way or another. And so it's just a series of, in my opinion, it's a series of questions that you kind of have to really answer, because for what it's worth, there's been a lot of, gatherings. You were just at one, I think, right, too, for Canada last. Yep. And so it may have been a little bit of a different structure, but I was at one in Boston as well, so the Northeast. And before I even got a chance to talk about the things, right, there was work being done with, being led by, essentially an executive coach, right, developmental coach, that asked an affiliate owner to kind of go through exercises to establish their own personal values, establish their own, personal strengths, weaknesses, blind spots, to really kind of dial in how they could develop and dig into their own personal growth as it leads to what they might want to do then for their community. And so I think that both of those things might have to be a talking point to, authentically allow, an individual owner to decide how they want to, innovate themselves into something that might be a little bit different than what they're doing today.
Because I think it's jumping into that world is not for everyone. Like it's you start to realize, like, is it like, I guess what you're saying without saying is, like, do you want to jump into helping people with their health, or do you like the idea of it because it's a different expression of CrossFit? Like, because you have to put in a little extra zhuzh to do that.
Weird. Yeah. No, I think that's very true. And for an affiliate owner that maybe is just 1 or 2 years in and is still kind of figuring out from, the bootstraps how to learn the business and do all the things, versus somebody that's been in for 11, 12 years, their perspective on the day-to-day is probably very different, right? We kind of touched on that even when you asked me what it was like in 2014 versus what it is now, right? It's different. For what it's worth, and it's a constant growth, hopefully, right? Because again, a lot of resources are available in the US for affiliates that aren't quite available like all over the world at this point. But we wanted there to be a framework and an infrastructure that, for those that just want to have the ability to talk about health in a different way, but may not have the ability to lift anything to make that happen, just have some of this stuff within the medical society that was already there, right? Like already education there, places that you can just direct your members to go so that they know that there's discussions about preventative health and education in and around the CrossFit methodology, right? Even if you as an owner can't deliver that, use us as a resource to help them understand, where the belief comes from, and, the empowerment for kind of, self-autonomy, within healthcare.
So when did the first iteration of like the health home happen at Chagrin Falls? When did you guys really start to kind of
end of 2021, beginning of 2022?
Okay. And what is a health home? What because I know that's the big focus for the US, and I'm going to think about how we can eventually lead we can lead ourselves up here north of the wall, but what is a health home?
Yeah, so I think let's put a couple things maybe just from a definition standpoint out there. So I think you have this idea of community-based medicine, which there's a lot of books out there, honestly, that do a really good job kind of talking about how beneficial it can be for community-based healthcare, community-based medicine, which is, literally like having group doctor's appointments, like in and around pregnancy and low income areas, and like the adherence, like there's stuff that supports that can support health outcomes. And then you look at, this idea of a health home, which not specific to just CrossFit, but it's kind of like this idea that anything that, somebody in a community would need would be found in one specific spot, right? And I think some of the examples exist like more in elder care, where like anything anybody would need, from a doctor to a hair salon to, their food to whatever, exists in one kind of like health home situation, right? And so it's the modulation of those two ideas, right? The affiliate, which is a community-based expression, right? Where culture exists, right? We do things in group settings. We have a shared and aligned ideology kind of in and around the CrossFit methodology, nutrition prescription, it's all there. And then, if we know what things really support health from a preventative standpoint, right? It's exercise, it's diet, it's, making sure that we're not socially isolated or lonely. And then it can be done also through, direct to consumer labs that somebody can, have that ability to do through the affiliate, right? There's, different types of resting metabolic rate or VO2 max testing that can give insight into kind of where you are from an all-cause mortality standpoint. Like there's diagnostics and metrics that can exist within, this health home idea of the affiliate that gives people measurable, observable, repeatable data that can be impacted by what happens in the affiliate.
Mm-hmm. So to stop someone from overthinking that, then let me kind of paint what I have in my head that ideally someone in Canada listening to this could do like on Monday. We record this on a Friday, but so what you're saying is like you could have in your affiliate, let's call it an osteo support group.
Yep.
Where Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the 8 ladies who are part of this osteo support group attend the 10:30 a.m. class.
Yep.
Maybe a coach works out with them. There's still a coach leading the class, but Coach Jenn is in class working out with them. And then afterwards, they all go, they maybe grab some foam rollers or sit in a corner in the gym and just talk about like, hey, are we staying on board with our nutrition? Hey, Brenda, how's your protein intake been going? Oh, I've really been struggling. Well, Gladys, and I feel like I'm stereotyping with these names, but Gladys chimes in. She's like, I know what you feel, but honestly, I just did my 6-month check-in and I've seen an increase. And it's so the coach just becomes really like a facilitator of the discussion and realizing we have the people already, they're connected, they've worked out, they as a group are supporting each other's consistent habits. Mm-hmm. But then what they're doing is supporting each other socially in that to just keep doing the things that'll work. And then maybe they have some markers, which again, in Canada, we could just do with regular doctor's appointments.
Yeah.
Say like, hey, it's working. Is that a working model of a health home?
I think that's a great example of it. And you could probably, and we know that this works with people with substance use disorder, right? Lots of amazing organizations, right? Like the Phoenix and others that follow that same model, right? That understand the importance of group-based care, right? For shared experiences, peer connection, accountability, like maintenance of habit change, like the things that, the chronic diseases, right, or these lifestyle diseases, the addressing root cause comes with changing habits, right? Mm-hmm. Changing lifestyle decisions and the way that things are played out on a daily basis. And so that becomes, this underlying theme where you can look at any number of health issues, right? And kind of, use that model. Again, we do this in CrossFit, right? It's what we do.
Yeah.
So you can do it for maybe expecting moms or postpartum moms, or it's osteoporotic women, but it could also be sarcopenic men, that are over 65 that, need to build muscle. Like when we look at how to help, change the health status of folks, right? And we can do it together, like their success is going to be that much greater.
Well, and I'm immediately thinking of you started CrossFit in 2011. Like in 2011 to like 2014, it was like, hey, you start CrossFit, and just so you know, you eat paleo now. It's like you don't know this yet, but you eat paleo now, and it's like, oh shit, I do. It's like, yeah, it's like because that's what CrossFitters do. oh, okay. And we know that to be a little dogmatic now, but I recall, like, I started in 2012. It's like, yeah, we did a Whole30 challenge. It was like, we do this, so we also do this. And it like
Mhm.
builds these habits, and we don't have to be so in your face about it. But the stuff that we know can, I mean, I feel like it's like the needs differing by degree, not by kind.
Yeah.
It becomes the answer that's right in front of us.
Yeah. We like to say that CrossFit's the gateway drug to health, right? Like you start it and you like it, and it hopefully appeals to what we know we need, biologically, which is doing hard things in groups and feeling sense of accomplishments. And it kind of like taps into our innate physiology, right? Just kind of as like humans, right? On a very basic human level. And, you hope that that's what gets people to come back time after time. And then what happens is then they get exposed to the culture and just wanting to be an active participant in that group and in that culture, right? Which means taking sense of personal accountability along with it. And it's like, I want to do a partner workout. I don't want to let my partner down. They care about what they eat. They talk about it. Well, I don't want to, I don't want to drink the night before and go into Saturday morning partner workout and then not perform. Like there's just kind of this natural progression of behavior change that can happen when you want to be an active participant in the group, right? Same with like hunter and gatherers. Like you want to help bring the stuff back to your tribe, right? Like you don't want to be the person that shows up without any berries. Like, like you want to provide.
Yeah. What would you recommend or just suggest like could be a population that, I feel like you already said it, but like that someone could foray into this and develop their own working model?
Yeah. I mean, there is no wrong answer. And I think it probably looks at your demographics, right?
Okay.
And maybe what is local in your community. And if you have, a center or, an area that does substance use disorder, like you can go and you could say, hey, I have something that can help, retrain the brain mechanisms around addiction, that provide peer support, that can give, lifestyle habits that are sustainable once you leave treatment, right? If that's near you. You could also look at, okay, there's a cancer research center that does cancer treatments. Like we now know that there's really exciting research that supports the benefit of exercise, during chemo, after. So there's ways you can say like, hey, we can work out some sort of connection where we can educate and provide benefits of exercise to cancer patients. And so I think that's where it comes back to like, okay, well, what resources do I have? Where am I? What groups of people do I want to help most or first or, right now? And then you just apply that in one small step. For example, we have in our town, I split two small towns. Basically, my affiliate's kind of like on the county line. So we have two different county boards. We have an amazing support through both counties for developmental disabilities, where there's a lot of funding to help provide education and experiences for, any number of individuals that have, some have Down syndrome, some have other, types of cognitive or intellectual disabilities, in and amongst kids that have different layers and level of autism. And so, we've worked for, 5-6 years with, our county boards to provide a CrossFit experience, right? Which trickles down to a whole slew of benefits for, this specific population. But, versus I don't have a substance use disorder treatment center anywhere near me. So it wouldn't make sense logistically to try to build out that type of program. And so I think that's just kind of knowing your community.
Well, and for anyone who, and then, well, I'll just get into it, is anyone who knows what Dale has done down at PSKC CrossFit and the Portsmouth method, right? Like his story really came to light the last couple of years. However, no one saw the roadmap that he had to do beforehand to build it to that. Truly just one guy being like, hey, just so you know, I'm in recovery, long-term recovery right now, and these classes have been so helpful for me. So my reason for bringing that up is I think the next kind of overwhelming hurdle someone who wants to get involved may think is, well, I have to create this case study and how do I convince the doctors and this and that? But like, truly, like one person is really all it takes, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. One person's all it takes too. And, you know, I really think that you, people want to help people get better. And so if it is a doctor or if it is a center or it is whatever, it's like, how can I help you? Right. Like, and this is me as the affiliate owner, like, this is my services. This is what we do. This is what CrossFit is. This is how I know it helps. Like, how can I help you? Right. And just finding a way to connect again on a human level with like the group of providers or the center or the county board or whatever it is. Like, I do believe that there are really good people out there that want to continue to find ways to help and, make people healthier. And we're all, probably trapped into some variation of dysfunction within the systems that we work in. And so I think just being willing to find points of connection and be willing to work together is a really good starting spot. Oh, I can't hear you. Okay, I think I got you now.
Yes, my microphone died. Good thing I have two. Good catch. Sorry, but I guess what I was about to say is, in the U.S. being like an insurance-based system, very flawed, but what we're stuck with, and at least, and it's interesting in Canada with a socialized system, each province is actually different. I know very much so each state is different, but like, I've spent the last kind of almost 3 years foraying into just understanding Ontario healthcare. And it's like, everyone could be going down this one path. And then for us, it could be an election that changes the goals entirely.
Yeah.
So what we can be is this continuous kind of force, but also like sometimes you don't necessarily have to try to rewrite the system, like learn to play the game a little bit first and then learn how to play it to your advantage is a good way to start making some impact as well.
Yeah, no, that's really good insight. And I think just how you obviously explained it, like every region, like the differences from pockets to pockets of populations all over the place are going to just be different, whether it's, based on their governing boards or their laws, state laws, county, country, all of those things will have variations that just exist and they might change. And there's just so many things that we can't necessarily count on to work for us. So we have to then in our own right, be able to really dig into what we know we have, just what we do in the affiliate, committing to continued education if we can. We want to follow, what we're learning about the importance of, lifestyle interventions and all that stuff, which, continues to kind of be supported and become a talking point, just I think more openly, at least, whether it be through social media or whatever. But, that discussion is definitely, I feel like, at least more accessible now than it was, 25 years ago.
Yeah. And you had said it before, like just reach out to someone, and say, I'm here to help or I want to help. I reached out I found out the chief of Emerge at our local hospital was a former member.
Oh, wow.
From years ago. And so part of the side project I've been building is a not-for-profit helping people with addiction and whatnot. And I email after email after email. And then finally he's like, hey, let's hop on a quick call. And we ended up chatting for about an hour, but he was amazed that I was able to help just one person. That like one person, and this was an individual I actually had to go pick up for their first day. And they actually had a relapse during being in our program, but he came back and Dr. Sangster was like, that is so amazing. Holy cow, you got him to that is amazing. And like, we're talking specifically of substance use, but like those types of like anecdotal, it doesn't matter if they're anecdotal, they will catch the attention and that they'll inspire practitioners to say, okay, you want to help? Like here, let's try something.
Yeah, totally. I love that story. That's awesome.
So one of the things and thank you, in that We Cure Chronic Disease discussion that happened at the games a few years ago, one person in the crowd put their hand up and asked when CrossFit HQ was going to be releasing materials for them to use for marketing. Now, this is, of course, fast forward. You guys have already said you're releasing a ton of different materials, but I think we as affiliates need to do a better job of saying, how can we help the medical society?
Interesting.
Right? Like, so what could be of value that all of us here north of the wall could start doing because I'm guessing many people listening to this in Canada, the tens of people, are going to be like, well, when the medical society gets launched in Canada, we'll do something.
Yeah.
Why don't we take ownership and start leading from the front? So what are some things we could do as
so I mean, for what it's worth, like globally, theoretically, we're everywhere, right? Like the conversations, the education, all that stuff. I mean, I just had someone from Taiwan buy the CME that we offer through the medical society, which is super cool. You know this very well, right? But like N of 1 stories are super powerful, right? If for no other reason than to help share the transition and the transformation that happens when the work is done and we see somebody that had osteoporosis no longer have osteoporosis, right? Like we know how powerful that can be, and sharing those stories I think are really important. What's really cool, I think, and we're doing this it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. We have a lot of great research that came out recently that talks about, like I just mentioned, like how CrossFit can actually help mitigate the recurrence of different types of cancers and stuff. So we have, an article that we wrote coming out. We're sharing a research article. And then we have a news story coming out about a woman that kind of had that experience having a double mastectomy. And so I think that if we can hear some of these stories, right, understand if it happened in your affiliate and you saw, this transformation happen, like let's tell me, right? Because we have the research that says why this worked, right? And then you kind of put it all together and you can have it, we have the CFMS journal, which is on the Medical Society's website. So not only are we going through the methodology and just kind of re-engaging with how valid it is and just making sure that everybody understands how important it is, just kind of at baseline, but then also sprinkling in, different types of articles that allow us to kind of paint the broader picture about what is actually happening from a health transformation standpoint. So send them over. Let's just keep using this, for lack of a better word, translational research, right? Kind of like seeing what happens in real time in practice and being able to share those stories.
Yeah, you guys got to chat with Lorraine, and that just started with a comment on an Instagram post. Like speak up and it will catch attention. But then I also feel like affiliates could do a better job of talking to each other and just maybe like either sharing, because it could be like, hey, share a story on your social media that you helped this person. Because then maybe another affiliate owner will see that and then, hey, shoot him a DM. Hey, I'm interested in chatting about how you did that. Can we hop on a call? And the more we can do things autonomously and then support the medical society, I feel like the better off it is, instead of sitting and waiting, with twirling our thumbs.
And honestly, like sharing what didn't work, right? Like if you had an experience and it's worth saying, like, I tried to do this and it didn't work for me. Like one, it potentially saves somebody from trying that also and maybe doing it different as well. But, there's no perfect scenario. We're not all going to get it right. Like when we're, trying to essentially kind of, do things a little bit differently in our affiliate or the way that we have relationships with people in the healthcare space and all that stuff. And so I think just going to the table with humility, like as you're learning and sharing those experiences, you'll just find connection points with other affiliate owners as well that are kind of trying to figure out how to do this work.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I think sometimes we're cursed with like, oh, well, this person has done this already, so I shouldn't do it. It's like,
we're worst enemies sometimes.
But realizing like, oh, well, if they've done it, they're probably a great way to fast track my development. You know, I had an affiliate owner reach out to me asking me about like the stuff, and she's like, how do I ask and blah blah blah. I was like, first of all, don't ask, tell that you're gonna help. But like, hey, here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3. Like, you don't have to forge it alone. And that's
Right.
I think that's how a lot of affiliates, even just in a business standpoint, got to where we were in those glory days when there was less resources available, more or less resources available than there are now.
Yeah. No, totally.
So one thing you guys have been doing a really great job of is, again, with 2 busy schedules, yourselves and Tom, is getting out to these different affiliate gatherings and meetups and connections. And what's been valuable for you as part of the medical society, but then secondly, for you as an affiliate owner, what's been valuable for attending?
Yeah. It's so funny. I selfishly go because I'm an affiliate owner. Like, I just like to go and hang out with other owners, and I starve for that that opportunity. And so for me, it's like, you know, leaving a seminar weekend and being like, my cup is filled back up, right? So I think that that's just something that I enjoy hearing. Honestly, hearing what's where I can't even, I think it was like the Jolly Jar. Like, I was at a gathering talking for the medical society, and someone was talking about something. They're like, yeah, it's the Jolly Jar. We put it out in the month of December, and you can pick things out, and you do the little extra workout, and then you get extra points, and then there's a winner. And I was like, shit, that's cool. I'm going to do a Jolly Jar this year. Like, stuff like that, right? It just kind of like helps keep things fresh, right? Because you can kind of get into autopilot as an affiliate owner where, you know, it's hard to be creative or do things different or get excited about other stuff. So just holistically, like me, I just like being in that space. You know, I think to your point, and we spend a lot of time talking about it, just being able to strip down the expectations that it has to be a perfect example or iteration of what you think your final vision is going to be. If you want to start doing, I don't want to say doing this work because we are doing this work, but if you want to start thinking about adding different resources or different types of conversation or working with different groups, like, and just being able to come with an authentic answer about what's realistic for your bandwidth and your resources, and then build a little bit of confidence to take that first step. And so I think that being able to connect with people on that level so that they leave feeling confident and empowered to really know that CrossFit is a health intervention, and the methodology is supported, and it is proven, and it is validated, and it does have, you know, health outcomes that make a difference in people's lives. And to walk away from that feeling confident that they can go and take that back to their community and work to improve the health of one person, right? And maybe next month 2 people. So, I lost you again. Now you're muted. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, thank you. I had a great podcast with Christina Anderson out of the Northeast, and I paused it and then went to resume and accidentally restarted. So and that was like 30 minutes into a great conversation. So I'm like, you know what? We're just going to sit through the 5 seconds of dead space.
Totally fine.
Versus
totally fine.
That,
we are imperfect creatures. It's totally fine. My camera shut off live on CrossFit podcast like 3 weeks ago. So,
you know, and Jocelyn fills the space. Good to go. Like, yeah. But, and you know, and like, that's even this little project, I think, is like the CrossFit Canada podcast. Like, we don't have to, we already said it, like, we are still very much at the core affiliate owners, and we worry about things being perfect. And sometimes, like, ready, fire, aim is okay to learn from it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be, especially when it comes to helping people. Like, we can do this and stumble along and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. and there's, thousands of affiliate owners, and I've probably scratched the surface on being able to meet them, but I have not met one that doesn't serve with a level and commitment of selflessness to what they do, right? Pain points included. And so I think that's just a testament to like the power of the work that we do, just based on the individuals that I've had the opportunity to come into contact with. And that to me, from just like a humanity standpoint, is really, really amazing.
Yeah. So you alluded to it, and I want to end on this, is like, we got to see each other at the coaches conference in Albany, and it was, it really, like, I truly wonder how many people who at least listen to different CrossFit media have heard how great the games were, how great the conference was. And it's like, we're not saying this, like they were amazing.
Yeah.
Things,
Yeah.
right?
Both. I so impressed, like the whole, the OCC, the games, the energy from different people at HQ, part of the organization, the community members, like the whole thing, like it was a very amazing experience.
I mean, you were there too at the hotel, like
in
Albany. Like, it was, for me, it was eating lunch one day, and I was like, this is a great CrossFit lunch. Like, all because it could have been a sandwich and a cookie and a bag of chips, right? And they would have got roasted, and so there tries to be there are some people who like to contribute to the noise, but truly I think that we really are poised for a second wave. And Daniel Chaffee likes to talk about the sigmoid curve. Like, every progress is progress, then there's always going to be a regression to give you that opportunity to realign and jump. And so, you're out there as well. What excites you about the next year, 2 years, 3 years, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that there is an energy, right? And so I have felt it in small bursts, honestly, throughout the last year at some of these smaller gatherings, just again, to kind of see, when you strip it down at its core, how committed these affiliate owners are to trying to figure out how to continue to serve. So I think that is really refreshing. The energy at the OCC and the games was really nice to feel. And so I want, if there's anything, to be able to get that out to more people, because I do think that there's still affiliate owners that are probably siloed, that maybe don't know or fully understand the resources or the avenues to connect. And so it's those folks that don't go to the gatherings, that, don't, necessarily know about the value that comes from going to something like the OCC. Like, I really encourage anybody that wants to connect and kind of go back to why you maybe decided to do what you did in the first place, to dig into that, right? Because it's really, it's affirming, I think, for anybody kind of on their trajectory. I think just, from an industry standpoint, looking at where the wellness economy is going globally, right? Understanding where trends are globally, in sickness and disease and stuff, that, we have said it, Greg said it, we have said it for years, right? Like, having the solution to the world's most vexing problem, it has never been more needed than it is right now, honestly. And, that's the work to be done.
Yeah. And it's the elegant solution, which in the mathematical sense is efficacy without effort. Like, you're already doing it.
Yeah.
You just need to tell more people that you're doing it. And so the Owners and Coaches Conference, those breakout groups and sessions are being uploaded to the affiliate toolkit, and the recordings are there. Do you know if Tom's talks are
up there? No, I think when they started doing it, I actually think Tom's was one of the first ones that got released. I know Jocelyn's has been come out, I think. I think Daniel's also came out. So really good, like, usable stuff, right? So, like, research from Tom. Jocelyn did an amazing job, kind of, like the nutrition for the everyday athlete, like how to think about that in your affiliate. Daniel did an amazing one on leadership and like thinking about how to be a leader in your box, which could potentially help the affiliate owner think about how to stack people so that if you do want to focus on developing other things, you can put systems in place to kind of help you make that transition. So like really, really exciting information. So yeah, heck yeah, go to your toolkit.
And then where can people find the like research and stuff from the Medical Society? Because there is the Medical Society Instagram, but there's a journal, correct?
Yeah, so CrossFitMedicalSociety.com, and you go, I think it says education at the top, and you drop it down and it says CFMS journal. So like there's just the articles that we write that, you know, kind of summarize CME articles or research articles, different stuff. And then there's also, if you're a healthcare provider, for what it's worth, there is actual continuing medical education, and soon next month CEUs as well. So like you can actually read articles, read research, and get CME or CEU credits for it, which globally providers, and again, that's different for every country, but doctors, especially in the US, have to actually like continue medical education, right, to keep their licensing. And the credits that we offer are usually like globally accepted for the most part. So it could be a benefit for, you have, you know, a doctor in your box and they love CrossFit and they're like, I need CME anyways. It's like, hey, why don't you go, you know, read this stuff so you understand more about what we do and why we do it. So,
yeah. Or at least we could start reading it and learn to speak the language just a little bit more, or see that what we're doing is working, because we don't, as Canadians, don't need to wait for something. As you said, it's already happening. It's already global. It's just up to us to pick up the torch and start running with it.
Yep.
And on that note, 3, 2, 1, time.